The continent of Westeros is in the throes of war. The Stark family marches to the capital to wage war against King Joffrey and the Lannister family. The Starks have captured Sir Jaime Lannister, who is the head knight of the King's Guard and the King's illegitimate father through incest with his twin sister. Brienne of Tarth, also a knight, has been charged with returning Sir Jaime to the King in exchange for the 2 Stark girls they are holding captive. We find Jaime and Brienne in a bathhouse after they are captured and taken to Harrenhal Castle by Lord Bolton. Sir Jaime has recently had his sword hand cut off. The pain, the fever, and the shock lead Jaime to open up to Brienne and provide details of how he earned the name Kingslayer. Brienne learns that perhaps there is more to a story than what she has heard. But what reason could she possibly have to trust an Oathbreaker? A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. "Does the sight of my stump distress you so?" Jaime asked. "You ought to be pleased. I've lost the hand I killed the king with, the hand that I flung the Stark boy from the tower, the hand I'd slide between my sister's thighs to make her wet." He thrust his stump at her face. "No wonder Renly died with you guarding him." She jerked to her feet as if he'd struck her, sending a wash of hot water across the tub. Jaime caught a glimpse of the thick blonde bush at the juncture of her thighs as she exited the water. She was much hairier than his sister. Absurdly he felt his penis stir beneath the bath-water. "Now I know I've been too long away from Cersei." He averted his eyes, troubled by his body's response. "That was unworthy," he mumbled. "I'm a maimed man, and bitter. Forgive me, wench, you protected me as well as any man could have, and better than most." She wrapped her nakedness in a towel. "Do you mock me?" That pricked him back to anger. "Are you as thick as a castle wall? That was an apology. Tired of fighting with you. What you say we make a truce?" "Truces are built on trust. Would you have me trust—" "A Kingslayer? Yes. The Oathbreaker who murdered poor sad Aerys Targaryen." Jaime snorted. "It's not Aerys I rue, it's Robert." "I heard they named you Kingslayer," he said to me at his coronation feast. "Just don't think to make it a habit." And he laughed. "Why is it no one names Robert Oathbreaker? He tore the realm apart, yet I am the one with no honor." "Robert did all he did for love." Water ran down Brienne's legs and pooled beneath her feet. "Robert did all he did for pride and a pretty face." He made a fist, or would have if he'd had a hand. Pain lanced up his arm, cruel as laughter. "He rode to save the realm," she insisted. "To save the realm. Did you know that my brother set the Blackwater Rush afire? Wildfire will burn on water. Aerys would have bathed in it if he dared. The Targaryens were all mad for fire." Jaime felt light-headed. "It is the heat in here? The poison in my blood, the fever. I'm not myself." He eased himself down until the water reached his chin. "Soiled my white cloak. I wore my gold armor that day, but—" "Gold armor?" Her voice sounded far off, faint. He floated in heat, in memory. After Dancing Griffins lost the Battle of the Bells, Aerys exiled him. Why am I telling this absurdly ugly child? He had finally realized that Robert was no mere outlaw lord to be crushed at whim, but the greatest threat House Targaryen had faced since Daemon Blackfyre. He saw traitors everywhere, and Varys was always there to point out any he might have missed. So His Grace commanded his alchemist to place caches of wildfire all over King's Landing, beneath Baelor Sept, in the hovels of Flea Bottom, under stables, in storehouses, at all 7 gates, even in the cellars of the Red Keep itself. Everything was done in the utmost secrecy, by a handful of master pyromancers. They did not even trust their own acolytes to help. The Queen's eyes had been closed for years, and Rhaegar was busy marshalling an army. But Aerys's new mason dagger hand was not utterly stupid, and with Rosart, Belarius, and Gregarious coming and going day and night, he became suspicious. Cheshold, that was his name, Lord Cheshold. It had come back to him with the telling. I'd thought the man craven, but the day he confronted Aerys, he found some courage somewhere. He did all he could to dissuade him. He reasoned, he jested, he threatened, and finally he begged. And when that did not work, he took off his chain of office and flung it down on the floor. Aerys burnt him alive for that, hung his chain about the neck of Rosart, his favorite pyromancer, the man who had cooked Lord Rickard Stark in his own armor. And all this time I stood by the foot of the Iron Throne in my white plate, still as a corpse, guarding my liege lord and all his secrets. My sworn brothers were all away, you see, but Eris liked to keep me close. I was my father's son, so he did not trust me. He wanted me where Varys could watch me day and night, so I heard it all. He remembered how Rosart's eyes would shine when he unrolled the maps to show where the substance must be placed. Gregarious and Bellarse were the same. Rhaegar met Robert on the Trident, and you know what happened there. When the word reached court, Eris packed the queen off to Dragonstone with Prince Viserys. "The traitors want my city," I heard him tell Rosart, "but I'll give them naught but ashes. Let Robert be king over charred bones and cooked meat." The Targaryens never bury their dead, they burn them. Eris meant to have the greatest funeral pyre of them all, though if truth be told, I do not believe he truly expected to die. Like Aerion Frightfire before him, he thought the fire would transform him, that he would rise again, reborn as a dragon, and turn all his enemies to ash. It fell to me to hold the Red Keep, but I knew we were lost. I sent to Eris asking to make terms. My man came back with a royal command: "Bring me your father's head if you are no traitor." Eris would have no yielding. Rosart was with him, my messenger said, and I knew what that meant. When I came on Rosart, he was dressed as a common man-at-arms, hurrying to a postern gate. I slew him first. Then I slew Eris, before he could find someone else to deliver the message to the pyromancers. Days later I hunted down the others and slew them. Valerius offered me gold, and Gregarious wept for mercy. A sword's more merciful than fire, but I don't think Gregarious much appreciated the kindness I showed him. The water had grown cold. When Jaime opened his eyes he found himself staring at the stump of his sword hand. The hand that made me Kingslayer. The goat had robbed him of his glory and his shame both at once. Leaving what? And who am I now?